The rain fell like bullets against the cracked pavement of Chicago's South Side, each drop a reminder of Madison Martin's failures. She clutched 7-year-old Ava closer, her daughter's small body shivering violently beneath the threadbare jacket Madison had wrapped around her. The fever had started that morning. Now Ava's skin burned against Madison's chest like a living furnace. "Mama, I'm cold," Ava whimpered, her voice barely audible over the storm's roar. Madison's heart shattered. The emergency room was still 6 blocks away. 6 blocks that might as well have been 6 miles with her phone dead, her wallet empty except for 3 crumpled dollars, and the city bus that had just splashed past them without stopping. She stumbled, her worn sneakers slipping on the wet concrete. Ava cried out softly, and Madison forced herself upright, blinking rain from her eyes. The streetlights blurred into halos of useless light. Then, the purr of an expensive engine, the hiss of tires through water. A black Mercedes SUV, sleek as a panther, pulled up beside them. The tinted window rolled down with mechanical precision, revealing a face that belonged in her darkest, most forbidden dreams. Sharp jawline, intense dark eyes that saw everything, black hair perfectly styled despite the weather. Jin Woo Kang's voice cut through the storm like a blade through silk. "Get in." Madison Martin had learned long ago that mercy didn't exist for women like her, black, broke, and barely surviving in a city that ground the vulnerable into dust. So when the stranger in the Mercedes repeated his command, she hesitated, even as Ava's fever burned hotter against her chest. "I said get in." The man's accent carried the faintest trace of Korea, his English precise and controlled. "Your daughter needs a hospital. I'll take you." Something in his tone, not kindness exactly, but absolute certainty, made Madison's exhausted mind override her survival instincts. She yanked open the back door and slid inside with Ava, immediately engulfed by leather luxury and blessed warmth. The man, Jin Woo, she would learn later, didn't waste time with questions. He handed her a thick blanket from the passenger seat, his movements efficient and purposeful. "Wrap her. Northwestern Memorial is 8 minutes away." "I can't afford—" Madison started, but he cut her off with a glance in the rearview mirror that silenced her protest. "We'll discuss payment later. Right now, your daughter's health is what matters." The SUV moved through Chicago's rain-soaked streets with predatory grace, weaving through traffic with a confidence that suggested he owned the roads. Madison held Ava close, watching the stranger's profile illuminated by dashboard lights. Everything about him screamed power, the expensive watch glinting at his wrist, the tailored suit jacket draped over the driver's seat, the way other cars seemed to instinctively move aside for him. "What's her name?" he asked, his eyes never leaving the road. "Ava. Ava Thompson." Madison's voice cracked. "She's 7. The fever started this morning, but I thought it would pass." "You thought you couldn't afford the emergency room," he said flatly. Not an accusation, but a statement of fact that made Madison's cheeks burn with shame. "I work double shifts at Mrs. Chen's restaurant. My health insurance doesn't kick in for another month and—" She stopped, hating herself for explaining, for justifying her poverty to this man who probably spent more on his watch than she made in 6 months. "Mrs. Chen's Korean BBQ on Halstead?" Something shifted in his voice. Recognition, perhaps even respect. "You're the one who speaks Korean to the customers." Madison blinked, surprised. "You know the place?" "I know everything that happens in my territory." The words carried weight, a meaning Madison didn't fully understand but instinctively feared. He pulled up to Northwestern Memorial's emergency entrance with smooth precision. "Stay here." Before Madison could protest, he was out of the vehicle, opening her door with one hand while simultaneously speaking rapid Korean into his phone with the other. A hospital security guard started toward them, but one look from Jin Woo made the man retreat. "Can you walk?" Jin Woo asked Madison, his tone gentler now. "I've got her." Madison climbed out with Ava in her arms, but exhaustion made her knees buckle. Instantly, Jin Woo's hand was at her elbow, steadying her with surprising tenderness. "Give her to me," he said, and before Madison could refuse, he'd lifted Ava from her arms with practiced ease. The little girl's eyes fluttered open, fever-bright and confused. "Mama, I'm right here, baby. This man is helping us." Jin Woo carried Ava through the automatic doors like she weighed nothing, Madison scrambling to keep up. The emergency room was packed. Crying children, groaning adults, the sharp smell of antiseptic and desperation. The triage nurse looked up with practiced indifference until she saw Jin Woo. Her expression transformed instantly. "Mr. Kang, we weren't expecting—" This child needs immediate attention. High fever, possibly pneumonia. His voice carried absolute authority. Get Dr. Williams, now. The nurse practically sprinted away. Madison stood frozen, trying to process what had just happened. Who was this man that hospital staff jumped at his commands? Jinwoo carried Ava to a private examination room that appeared within minutes, laying her gently on the bed. His expensive suit was now soaked with rainwater, but he didn't seem to notice or care. He stepped back as Madison rushed to Ava's side, his dark eyes studying them both with an intensity that made Madison's skin prickle. Mr. Kang. A woman in a white coat entered. Dr. Sarah Williams, according to her badge, her expression professional but deferential. What do we have? 7-year-old with high fever, exposure to cold rain, difficulty breathing. Check for pneumonia. Jinwoo's assessment was clinical and precise. Dr. Williams immediately began examining Ava, asking questions Madison answered in a daze. When had the fever started? Any other symptoms? Previous medical conditions? She has asthma, Madison admitted, guilt flooding through her. But we ran out of her inhaler last week, and I haven't been able to afford the refill yet. She expected judgment. Instead, Dr. Williams simply nodded. We'll get her stabilized. Mr. Kang, perhaps you'd like to wait outside while I examine. I'll stay until she's stable, Jinwoo said, his tone brooking no argument. Then, surprising everyone including himself, he added, the mother shouldn't be alone. He moved to the corner of the room, becoming a silent sentinel. Madison focused on Ava, holding her daughter's small hand while Dr. Williams worked. But she was acutely, painfully aware of Jinwoo's presence, the way he stood with perfect posture, the way his eyes tracked every movement, the way the very air seemed to shift around him. Ava's breathing stabilized under Dr. Williams's care. Fluids, fever reducers, breathing treatments, the terrifying raspiness eased, color returning to her daughter's face. Madison felt tears streaming down her cheeks, relief so intense it was almost painful. She'll need to stay overnight for observation, Dr. Williams said quietly. We'll monitor her closely. She's going to be fine, Ms. Martin. Madison Martin. She wiped her eyes roughly. And I need to know how much this will cost because I don't. Your daughter's care has been covered, Dr. Williams interrupted gently, glancing at Jinwoo. What? Madison turned to him. No, absolutely not. I can't accept. You already have. Jinwoo pushed off from the wall with predatory grace. Your daughter needed help. I provided it. Consider it an investment. An investment in what? Madison demanded, fear suddenly cutting through her gratitude. His lips curved into something that wasn't quite a smile. That remains to be seen. Dr. Williams, ensure she receives the best care. Send all bills to my office. He started toward the door, then paused. Ms. Martin, you should eat something. There's a cafeteria on the second floor. Tell them to charge it to Kang. Wait, Madison called out. I don't even know who you are. Why would you help us? Jinwoo turned back, and for a moment, something vulnerable flickered in his dark eyes before his mask of control returned. Let's just say I understand what it means to be powerless while someone you love suffers. Get some rest, Madison Martin. We'll talk tomorrow. He disappeared before she could respond, leaving Madison alone with her sleeping daughter and 1,000 questions. The nursing staff suddenly became attentive, bringing blankets, offering food, treating her like royalty instead of the broke single mother she was. Madison sank into the chair beside Ava's bed, her mind spinning. Jinwoo Kang, a man who made hospital staff jump, who paid emergency room bills without blinking, who carried himself like he owned the city. What have I gotten us into? But as she watched Ava sleep peacefully, her breathing steady and strong, Madison couldn't regret accepting his help. She would have done anything to save her daughter. She just hoped the price wouldn't be more than she could pay. Outside, Jinwoo sat in his Mercedes, staring at the rain cascading down his windshield. His second-in-command, Minjun Park, called for the 3rd time, but Jinwoo ignored it. His thoughts were consumed by a woman with fierce eyes and a daughter who'd looked at him without fear. He'd seen Madison Martin before, serving bibimbap at Mrs. Chen's with quiet dignity, while drunk businessmen made crude comments. He'd watched her maintain her composure, her pride intact despite circumstances that would have broken weaker people. He'd admired her from a distance, this beautiful black woman with natural hair that formed a glorious halo around her face, with golden brown skin that glowed even under harsh restaurant lights. Now she owed him, and Jinwoo Kang always collected his debts. But for the first time in his carefully controlled life, he wasn't sure what he wanted as payment. Dawn broke over Chicago with apologetic grey light. Madison hadn't slept. She'd sat vigil beside Ava's bed all night, watching her daughter's chest rise and fall with blessed regularity. The fever had broken around 4 a.m., and Ava had slept peacefully since then. Dr. Williams arrived at 7 with good news. Ava could go home after one more breathing treatment. Madison should have felt relief. Instead, anxiety coiled in her stomach. "Ms. Martin," a nurse appeared. "There's someone here to see you." "Mr. Kang is waiting in the family consultation room." Of course he was. Men like Jin-Woo Kang didn't offer charity without expecting something in return. Madison kissed Ava's forehead and reluctantly followed the nurse down the hall. Jin-Woo stood by the window, his back to her, wearing a different suit, charcoal grey this time, perfectly tailored. He turned as she entered, and Madison's breath caught. In daylight, he was even more devastating. Sharp cheekbones, intense dark eyes, and that mouth, firm and controlled, but with a hint of sensuality that made her stomach flip. "Your daughter is recovering well," he said, without preamble. "Thanks to you." Madison kept her distance, arms crossed. "Dr. Williams said you paid for everything, even arranged for a month's supply of Ava's inhaler. A child shouldn't suffer because of broken systems." He gestured to a chair. "Sit. We need to discuss the terms of our arrangement." "I don't remember agreeing to any arrangement." But Madison sat anyway. Jin-Woo settled across from her. "You accepted my help. That created an obligation. I'm simply defining the parameters. How much do I owe you?" "Money isn't what I want from you." Madison's blood ran cold. "Then what?" Jin-Woo leaned back, steepling his fingers. "Tell me, Madison Martin. What do you know about me? Only that you're rich, powerful, and hospital staff are terrified of you." A slight smile curved his lips. "Honest. I appreciate that. Most people lie to me out of fear. Should I be afraid of you?" "Probably." His smile faded. "I'm the head of the Kang family organization. We control significant business interests in Chicago, legitimate and otherwise. In simpler terms, Ms. Martin, I'm what polite society would call a criminal." Madison's heart hammered. "You're in the Mafia." An oversimplification, but accurate enough. Jin-Woo watched her carefully. "Does that change how you feel about accepting my help? Would it matter if it did?" "No." His honesty was brutal and refreshing. "You needed help. I provided it. Your feelings are irrelevant to the debt owed." "Then what do you want?" Jin-Woo stood, moving to the window. "What I want is simple. I need someone who can move through certain circles without attracting attention. Someone respectable. Someone who speaks Korean and understands cultural nuances. You want me to spy for you?" "I want you to work for me," he corrected. "Mrs. Chen's restaurant is in my territory, but she's been having problems with a rival organization. They're harassing customers, demanding protection money. You've seen it happen." Madison had. Just last week, men in expensive suits had intimidated customers until they left without paying. "What does that have to do with me?" "You work there, you speak Korean, you're trusted." Jin-Woo turned back to her. "I want you to be my eyes and ears. Report what you see. Help me protect Mrs. Chen." "By getting involved with criminals?" Madison shook her head. "I have a daughter to think about." "Exactly." Jin-Woo's voice softened. "You have a daughter who needs medicine, food, shelter, stability. I'm offering you a way to provide those things. Work for me, and I'll ensure Ava has everything she needs." "At what cost?" Madison whispered. "Your loyalty." Jin-Woo moved closer. "I don't need your soul, Madison. I need someone I can trust. You impressed me last night. Your love for your daughter, your strength. That's rare. You don't know anything about me." "I know you've worked at Mrs. Chen's for 11 months, Jin-Woo said calmly. "I know you're from Atlanta, moved to Chicago 3 years ago. I know Ava's father, William Hayes, is currently serving time for check fraud. I know you have an associate's degree in hospitality. Should I continue?" Madison's face burned. "You had me investigated. I investigate everyone." His tone held no apology. "But my investigation also showed you're smart, resourceful, and fiercely protective. You've never been arrested, never used drugs. You're exactly who I need. What if I say no? Then you walk away. The debt is forgiven. Your daughter's medical care remains paid for. You'll never see me again. It was too easy. That's it? No threats? I don't operate through fear with innocent people," Jin-Woo said quietly. "You and your daughter aren't part of my world. I won't drag you in against your will." "Then why make the offer at all?" For the first time, Jin Woo seemed uncertain. Because when I saw you in the rain, holding your daughter like she was the only thing keeping you alive, I saw— He stopped, jaw tightening. I saw someone who deserves better. Consider this my attempt to balance the scales. By turning me into an informant? By giving you a choice, Jin Woo corrected. Right now, you're powerless. Every decision is dictated by circumstances beyond your control. I'm offering you agency, the ability to provide for your daughter without sacrificing everything. Madison wanted to refuse, but then she thought of Ava's medication she couldn't afford, the rent increase. The second job interview she'd missed. What exactly would I have to do? Continue working at Mrs. Chen's, report suspicious activity, attend certain social functions as my companion when needed. Nothing dangerous, nothing illegal. Your companion? I need someone respectable at my side for business dinners, charity galas, someone beautiful enough to be believable as my interest but smart enough to know its business. Heat crept up Madison's neck. And that's all? For now. Jin Woo's honesty was brutal. I won't lie, my world is dangerous, but I give you my word. Yours and Ava's safety will be my priority. No one will touch you while you're under my protection. Think about it, he said, pulling out a card, matte black with silver Korean characters. You have until tomorrow evening. Call me with your answer. He left before Madison could respond. Later, beside Ava's hospital bed, her phone buzzed. An unknown number. Your daughter looks peaceful when she sleeps. Beautiful, like her mother. JWK Madison's blood ran cold. A second message appeared. Don't be afraid. I'm simply ensuring my investment is safe. Madison looked at Ava, thought about their tiny apartment with its broken heater, the bills piling up, the constant anxiety. She didn't call that evening, but she kept the card, and she knew she'd already made her decision. 24 hours later, Madison stood outside a gleaming high-rise in Chicago's Gold Coast, Jin Woo's card clutched in her hand. The doorman escorted her to a private elevator. The penthouse was controlled luxury, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Lake Michigan, furniture that cost more than Madison's entire life, and Jin Woo standing by those windows, his silhouette sharp against afternoon sun. You came, he said without turning. You knew I would. I hoped. Jin Woo turned. He wore dark slacks and a white dress shirt with sleeves rolled up, revealing forearms marked with scars. More human, more dangerous because of it. Where's Ava? With my friend Jessica Martinez. She's a nurse. She volunteered to watch her while I— Madison gestured helplessly. While I sold my soul to the devil. Jin Woo's lips twitched. Dramatic. I like it. He poured amber liquid into 2 glasses. But inaccurate. You're entering a mutually beneficial arrangement. Is that what you call it? Madison accepted the glass, their fingers brushing. The contact sent electricity through her skin. Whiskey. Japanese. Try it before you judge. Madison took a sip. Smooth fire. I have conditions. I'd be disappointed if you didn't. Jin Woo gestured to a couch. Madison chose the chair across from him. Ava knows nothing about this arrangement, Madison said firmly. She thinks you're just a friend who helped us. Agreed. Children should be protected. I won't do anything illegal. I'll report what I see, accompany you to events, but I won't carry drugs or money. Noted, though for the record, we don't deal drugs. That's a moral line I won't cross. Jin Woo's expression darkened. I've seen what drugs do to communities. Madison blinked, surprised. Then what do you do? Import/export primarily. Shipping containers are useful for moving many things. We also own legitimate businesses, restaurants, real estate, tech companies. The line between legal and illegal is often thinner than people think. That's not reassuring. It's honest. Jin Woo leaned forward. I won't lie to you, Madison. You'll exist in grey areas, but I'll never ask you to cross into black. You have my word. The word of a criminal. The word of a man who's never broken a promise. Jin Woo's intensity pinned her. In my world, word is everything. I've built my reputation on reliability. I won't compromise that. Your other conditions. I want everything in writing. The financial arrangement, my responsibilities, protections for me and Ava. Impossible. Contracts create paper trails. But I can give you something better. Jin Woo pulled out his phone. Min Jun Park is my second in command. We grew up together in Seoul. I'm sending you his contact. If anything happens to me, he's under orders to ensure you and Ava are protected and financially secure. That's supposed to reassure me? That you need a contingency plan for your death? It's prudent. Jin Woo's pragmatism was frightening. I live dangerously. It would be foolish not to plan for every outcome. Madison's phone buzzed. She stared at it, reality overwhelming her. This is insane. I should leave, take Ava, and move. With what money? Jinwoo's question was gentle but unyielding. Your credit cards are maxed. You have $237 in checking. Your car needs brakes you can't afford. You're 3 weeks from eviction. Madison's face burned. Stop. I'm not trying to hurt you. Jinwoo crouched in front of her chair, eye level. This close, she could see the scar bisecting his eyebrow, shadows under his eyes. I'm showing you that you're out of options. I'm not your last resort, I'm your only resort. And I'm offering you a way out that doesn't require sacrificing your dignity. At what cost? Madison demanded. Because men like you don't give without taking. So what do you really want from me? The use of his full name made something shift in his expression. Honestly, I don't know yet. His voice dropped to almost a whisper. I saw you in that storm, and something in me. He shook his head, standing abruptly. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you need help, and I can provide it. But it wasn't irrelevant. Madison could feel the pull between them, dangerous and undeniable. She should fear him. Instead, she found herself fascinated. When do I start? Jinwoo's eyes blazed with triumph and relief. Tonight. There's a situation at Mrs. Chen's. Victor Russo, the man leading the harassment, is planning something. I need you there to observe. What kind of something? That's what you'll find out. Jinwoo pulled out an envelope. Your first month's salary. $10,000. Madison gasped. That's more than I make in 6 months. It's barely adequate for the risk. Jinwoo handed it to her. Mrs. Chen's staff is being watched. When you show up tonight, you'll be in their crosshairs. Fear spiked through Madison. You said this wouldn't be dangerous. I said I'd protect you. Jinwoo produced a delicate necklace with a jade pendant. It's a panic button. Press it twice rapidly, and my people will be inside within 60 seconds. Madison took the necklace with shaking hands. And if something happens before they arrive, it won't. Jinwoo stepped behind her. May I? Madison nodded, unable to speak as Jinwoo's fingers brushed her neck, fastening the necklace. His breath was warm against her skin. There, he said softly, his hands lingering on her shoulders. You're protected now. Madison touched the pendant, its weight both comforting and terrifying. What am I looking for? Anything unusual? People who don't belong? Suspicious conversations? Russo's planning something I don't know what yet. Jinwoo's jaw tightened. Mrs. Chen is important to the Korean community. She gives jobs to people no one else will hire. If Russo hurts her, it sends a message that I can't protect my territory. And that weakens your position, Madison understood. Exactly. Jinwoo looked impressed. You're quick. A phone buzzed. Jinwoo glanced at it, his expression darkening. I have to go. He moved toward the door, then paused. Madison? Thank you. For trusting me. I don't trust you, Madison said honestly. But I'm out of options. Jinwoo's smile was sad. Honesty. That's more valuable than trust. He looked back one last time. Be careful tonight. And remember, you're mine now. Under my protection. That means something in this city. He left before Madison could process the possessive way he'd said, mine. Madison sat in Jinwoo's penthouse for a long moment, the envelope heavy in her lap, the necklace warm against her skin. She'd crossed a line today. But as she thought of Ava's medical bills paid, of the money that would buy groceries and stability, Madison couldn't regret it. She just hoped the price wouldn't be more than she could bear. That evening, Madison arrived at Mrs. Chen's with her heart in her throat. The restaurant was busy, but something felt off. Too many men in expensive suits. Too much tension. Mrs. Chen saw Madison and visibly relaxed. Madison, thank goodness. Can you take the back section? Of course. Madison tied on her apron, hyper-aware of the jade pendant hidden beneath her shirt. She moved through the restaurant, serving while her eyes tracked the suspicious men. They sat in the corner booth, 4 of them, all radiating menace. Their leader was obvious, older, scarred, with eyes that assessed everything. Victor Russo. She was clearing plates near their booth when Russo's voice cut through the noise. Tell Chen she has until Sunday to decide. Accept our protection or face the consequences. One of his men laughed. What consequences? You gonna burn the place down? Don't be crude, Russo chided. Fire is too obvious. Gas leak, maybe, or health code violations. Either way, she loses everything. Madison's blood ran cold. She fumbled with the plates, dropping a fork. Russo's eyes snapped to her. "Careful, sweetheart," he said, his smile predatory. "Wouldn't want you to get hurt." The threat was clear. Madison retreated to the kitchen, her hands shaking. Mrs. Chen found her there. "Madison, what's wrong?" "Those men," Madison whispered. "They're planning to hurt the restaurant. A gas leak or false health violations. They want you to accept their protection by Sunday." Mrs. Chen's face crumpled. "I can't. If I pay them, I'll have to lay off half my staff." "You won't have to do either." Madison pulled out her phone, texting Jin Woo. "Russo threatening gas leak or health violations. Deadline Sunday. He's here now with 4 men. The response was immediate. "Stay visible, don't engage, help is coming." "Mrs. Chen," Madison said carefully, "do you know Jinwoo Kang?" The older woman's eyes widened. "Everyone knows Mr. Kang. He owns this building. Why?" "Because he's going to help us, just trust me." "And stay in the kitchen." Madison returned to the dining room, forcing herself to appear calm. Russo and his men were still in their booth. She approached with water refills. "More water, gentlemen?" Russo looked up, and Madison saw the moment he recognized her as someone who'd seen and heard too much. "That's a beautiful necklace," he said slowly. "Mind if I take a closer look?" He reached for the pendant. Madison jerked back, pressing it twice in rapid succession. Russo's smile turned vicious. "Now that was interesting." The door burst open. Jin Woo Kang entered like an avenging angel, Min Jun Park, and 3 men behind him. The restaurant fell silent. Jin Woo's gaze swept the room, landed on Russo, then moved to Madison. His expression was pure murder. "Get away from her," he said quietly. "Now." Russo leaned back, hands raised. "Kang, didn't know this was your territory." "You knew exactly whose territory this is." Jin Woo moved with predatory grace, positioning himself between Madison and Russo. "You came here to challenge me, to see if I'd defend what's mine." "We were just having a conversation." Jin Woo's hand shot out, gripping Russo's wrist. "Call her that again and I'll break every bone in your hand." The tension was suffocating. Madison could see diners frozen, sensing danger. "Madison," Jin Woo said, not taking his eyes off Russo. "Did this man threaten you?" She should lie, de-escalate. But something in Jin Woo's voice made her answer truthfully. "Yes. He said I might get hurt if I wasn't careful." Jin Woo's grip tightened and Russo winced. "You made a critical mistake tonight, Russo. You touched something under my protection. That requires consequences." "I didn't touch her," Russo ground out. "You threatened her." "Same thing." Jin Woo released him suddenly, pushing him back. "Here's what's going to happen. You're going to leave this restaurant, leave this neighborhood, stop harassing Mrs. Chen. And if I ever hear about you coming within a mile of Madison Martin again, I'll make sure you regret it." Russo rubbed his wrist. "Over one woman? She must be something special." "She's mine." Jin Woo's voice dropped to a lethal whisper. "That makes her untouchable. Spread the word. Anyone who threatens her answers to me personally." The claim sent shockwaves through Madison. She wasn't his. They'd barely met, but Jin Woo's possessive declaration sent a thrill through her veins. Russo and his men left. The restaurant slowly returned to normal. Jin Woo turned to Madison, his hands coming up to cup her face, checking for injuries. "Did he hurt you?" "No. You got here fast enough. I was already on my way when you hit the panic button." Jin Woo's thumb brushed her cheekbone. "I saw his car pull up on the security feed. I knew he'd come for you." "How could you know that?" "Because it's what I would do." Jin Woo's eyes were dark with emotion. "Find the weakness, exploit it. You became my weakness the moment I claimed you were under my protection." He wanted to test how far I'd go. "And how far would you go?" Madison whispered. Jin Woo's answer was simple and terrifying. "As far as necessary." They stood there, surrounded by curious diners, Jin Woo's hands still framing Madison's face like she was something precious. "Come home with me," he said suddenly. "You and Ava. Just for tonight. Until I'm sure Russo got the message." "We can't, please." The word seemed to cost him. "I need to know you're safe." Madison should refuse. But the fear still coursing through her, the way Jin Woo was looking at her, made her nod. "Just for tonight." Jin Woo's relief was palpable. He released her face, his hand sliding down to capture hers. "Let me take you to get Ava. Then I'm taking you both somewhere safe." As they left, Minjun discreetly following, Mrs. Chen watching with knowing eyes, Madison realized she'd crossed another line tonight. She wasn't just working for Jin Woo Kang anymore. She was under his protection, and in his world, that meant everything. Jin Woo's safe house was a brownstone in Lincoln Park. Upscale but not ostentatious. with security that probably cost more than Madison's yearly salary. Ava had fallen asleep during the drive from Jessica's, and Jin-Woo carried her inside with gentle care. "The second floor, first door on the right," he murmured. "Guest room." Madison followed him up, watching the way he cradled Ava against his chest, one hand supporting her head. For a man rumored to be ruthless, he was surprisingly tender. The guest room was beautiful, more space than their entire apartment. Jin-Woo laid Ava on the bed carefully, removing her shoes before stepping back. "She's beautiful," he said quietly. "She has your eyes. Your strength, too. How would you know?" The way she looked at me in the hospital. No fear, just curiosity. Jin-Woo's lips curved slightly. Most children sense danger. She didn't see me as a threat. "Should she?" Madison challenged. "To her? Never." Jin-Woo's certainty was absolute. "To you," he paused. "That depends on how you define threat." The words hung between them, loaded with implication. Madison followed Jin-Woo out, closing the door quietly. In the hallway under soft lighting, the tension felt suffocating. "I should check in with Min-Jun," Jin-Woo said, but he didn't move. "Jin-Woo." Madison stopped him with a hand on his arm. "Thank you. For tonight. For everything." He looked at where she touched him, then up at her face. "Don't thank me yet. I may have made things worse." "What do you mean?" Jin-Woo moved down the hallway. They ended up in a study lined with books, both English and Korean, with a large desk and leather furniture. Jin-Woo poured them both whiskey without asking. "By claiming you so publicly, I've painted a target on your back," he said bluntly. "Other organizations will see you as leverage against me, a weakness to exploit." Madison's blood ran cold. "You're saying I'm in more danger now?" "In the short term, yes. But long term?" Jin-Woo met her eyes. "Long term, everyone in Chicago will know that touching you means war with the Kang family. That's the best protection I can offer." "By making me your public weakness?" Madison laughed bitterly. "I don't have weaknesses," Jin-Woo said quietly. "I can't afford them. But tonight, when I saw Russo reaching for you," his jaw clenched, "I would have killed him. Right there, consequences be damned." That's new for me. The confession hung in the air. Madison sipped her whiskey. "We barely know each other." "I know." Jin-Woo sounded almost angry. "It's irrational, inconvenient, potentially catastrophic. But there it is." "What exactly is it?" Madison demanded. "Because I need you to be very clear right now." Jin-Woo stood, moving to the window. His reflection looked haunted. "When I was 17, my father was murdered by a rival organization. They killed him in front of me and my mother. I was supposed to die too, but my uncle saved me. Do you know what he told me afterward?" Madison shook her head, transfixed. "He said that love is a liability in our world, that caring makes you vulnerable. He raised me to be cold, calculating, to see people as assets or threats." Jin-Woo turned back to her. "I've lived by that philosophy for 18 years, built an empire on it. And then I saw you in the rain, and something in me just—" He made a frustrated gesture. "Broke, or maybe woke up. I'm still not sure which." Madison set down her glass with shaking hands. "Jin-Woo, I can't be what you need. I have Ava to think about. I'm not asking you to be anything." He moved closer, and Madison found herself backing up until she hit the bookshelf. Jin-Woo stopped just short of touching her. "I'm just trying to explain why I can't maintain proper distance. Why every instinct screams to protect you, to keep you close, to make sure you're safe." "That's not how business arrangements work," Madison whispered. "No," Jin-Woo agreed. "It's not." His hand came up, fingers ghosting along her jaw without quite making contact. "Tell me to stop. Tell me this is just business and I'll believe you. I'll maintain distance." Madison should say it, should establish boundaries. But the way Jin-Woo was looking at her, like she was something precious, made the words die in her throat. "I don't know what this is," she admitted, "but it scares me. It should." Jin-Woo's thumb finally made contact, brushing across her lower lip. "I'm dangerous, Madison. To you, to Ava, to everything you care about. The smart thing would be to run." "Then why did you bring us here?" "Because I'm selfish," Jin-Woo said simply. "Because even knowing you'd be safer far away, I can't let you go. Because I saw you fighting to protect your daughter in that storm, and I realized I've never seen anything that beautiful in my entire life." Madison's breath caught. Jin-Woo was so close now, his body heat radiating against her, his scent filling her senses. She should push him away. Instead, she swayed forward. Jin-Woo's control snapped. His mouth found hers with desperate intensity, one hand sliding into her hair while the other gripped her waist, pulling her against him. Madison gasped, and Jinwoo took advantage, deepening the kiss with skillful precision. It was consuming. Jinwoo kissed like he did everything else, with absolute focus and devastating competence. Madison found herself clutching his shirt, rising on her toes to get closer. When Jinwoo finally pulled back, they were both breathing hard. His dark eyes were almost black with desire, his control visibly fraying. "This is a mistake," he said roughly. "Probably," Madison agreed, but she didn't let go. "You work for me. There's a power imbalance, a million ethical violations. Are you trying to convince me or yourself?" Jinwoo's laugh was pained. "Both." He gently extracted himself, putting distance between them. "Madison, I need you to understand something. My world doesn't allow for happily ever after. People I care about become targets. If we cross this line—" "We already crossed it," Madison interrupted. "The moment you claimed I was yours in front of Russo. The moment you brought us to your safe house. We've been crossing lines since you stopped in the rain." Jinwoo ran a hand through his hair, frustrated. "Then we need to uncross them, establish boundaries." "Is that what you want?" Madison challenged. "It's what's safe." Jinwoo's phone buzzed insistently. He answered in rapid Korean. His tone clipped. Madison watched his body language shift, shoulders tensing, jaw tightening. Something was wrong. He ended the call and looked at Madison with resignation. Russo didn't get the message, or rather, he got it and decided to respond. "He's planning something for tomorrow, something that will force my hand." "What kind of something?" "The kind that usually ends in bloodshed." Jinwoo moved to his desk, pulling out a burner phone. "I need to handle this." "You should try to sleep." "Jinwoo, please." His voice cracked slightly. "I need you safe upstairs with Ava while I deal with this. I can't think clearly if I'm worried about you." Madison wanted to argue, but exhaustion in Jinwoo's eyes stopped her. "Fine, but you'll tell me what's happening. No more secrets." "No more secrets," he agreed. "I promise." Madison left him in his study, climbing the stairs to check on Ava. Her daughter was still sleeping peacefully. Madison slipped into bed beside her, holding Ava close. She'd kissed Jinwoo Kang. She'd let him into her life, her heart, with recklessness that should terrify her. And now she was lying in his safe house while he planned God knew what. This was insane. All of it. But as Madison touched her lips, still tingling, she couldn't bring herself to regret it. Downstairs, Jinwoo made call after call, his mind working through scenarios. Russo had crossed a line tonight, and there would be consequences. In Jinwoo's world, weakness was death. He'd shown weakness by claiming Madison so publicly. Now he had to prove that weakness was actually strength. But the truth Jinwoo couldn't admit was that Madison Martin had become more than a weakness. She'd become his reason for wanting to survive, his reason for imagining a future beyond violence. And that was the most dangerous thing of all. His phone rang. Not Min-jun this time, but a number he hadn't expected. Jinwoo answered with trepidation. "Uncle," he said in Korean. "I hear you've made interesting choices lately." His uncle Young-ho replied in the same language. "Claiming a woman publicly, threatening war over an insult. This isn't like you. Things change. People in our position don't have the luxury of change," Young-ho said coldly. "This woman, Madison Martin, she's making you weak, vulnerable. You need to end this before it costs you everything. With respect, Uncle, my personal life is my own concern, not when it affects the family." Young-ho's voice sharpened. "End it, Jinwoo, or I'll end it for you." The call disconnected. Jinwoo stood frozen, his uncle's threat echoing. He'd expected resistance from rivals like Russo. He hadn't expected it from his own family. The next 24 hours would determine everything. So either Jinwoo would prove he could protect Madison while maintaining his power, or he'd lose it all. But as he thought of Madison sleeping upstairs, of Ava's peaceful face, of the way Madison had kissed him back with desperate intensity, Jinwoo made his decision. He'd rather lose everything than give them up. Now he just had to survive long enough to tell Madison that. Madison woke to sunlight streaming through unfamiliar windows and a moment of disorientation before remembering Jinwoo's safe house, the confrontation with Russo, that kiss that had turned her world upside down. Ava was already awake, sitting up with wide eyes. "Mama, where are we?" "At a friend's house, baby." Madison pulled her daughter close. "Remember Mr. Kang? He's helping us. The man from the hospital." Ava's face brightened. "He was nice. He smiled at me. Madison's heart clenched. Jinwoo had smiled at Ava. She hadn't seen him really smile. The idea that he'd shown genuine warmth to her daughter did something dangerous to Madison's carefully maintained emotional distance. They found Jinwoo in the kitchen, surprisingly domestic in a black t-shirt and jeans, making what looked like kimchi fried rice. He glanced up as they entered, his eyes finding Madison's, with an intensity that made her breath catch. "Good morning," he said, his voice slightly rough. To Ava, "Are you hungry?" Ava nodded shyly, hiding behind Madison. Jinwoo crouched down to her level, his movements slow and non-threatening. "I'm making kimchi bakambap," he told Ava. "It's a Korean dish, rice with vegetables and a little spice. But I can make it not spicy for you if you want." "Is it good?" Ava asked. "My mother used to make it for me when I was your age." Jinwoo's expression softened with memory. "It was my favorite. I think you might like it too." "Okay," Ava decided. "Can I help?" Madison opened her mouth to refuse, but Jinwoo was already nodding, finding a stool for Ava. "You can mix the sauce," he told her, showing her a small bowl. "Like this, see?" Madison watched in stunned silence as Jinwoo patiently taught Ava to stir, his large hands guiding her small ones, his voice gentle. This was not the same man who'd threatened Victor Russo. This was someone entirely different, someone capable of tenderness. "You're good with her," Madison said quietly. Jinwoo glanced over, something vulnerable flickering in his eyes. "I have a younger sister. I mean. She died when she was 9. Pneumonia. My mother couldn't afford the medicine." His jaw tightened. "That was before my uncle took us in, before we had money and all the things that couldn't bring her back." Madison's throat tightened. "Jinwoo, I'm so sorry. It's why I don't hesitate with medical care," he continued. "Why I paid for Ava's treatment without question. I know what it's like to watch someone you love suffer, because money is more important than life." Ava looked up at him with solemn eyes. "Your sister died?" "Yes," Jinwoo said simply. "That's sad." Ava set down the spoon and hugged Jinwoo suddenly, her small arms barely reaching around his waist. "I'm sorry your sister died." Jinwoo froze, clearly not expecting the gesture. Then, slowly, his arms came up to return the embrace, his expression raw with emotion he couldn't quite hide. Madison's eyes stung with unexpected tears. This man, this dangerous, powerful, complicated man, was capable of such gentleness, such pain. The moment broke when Jinwoo's phone buzzed insistently. He gently extracted himself from Ava's hug, checking the screen. His expression shuttered immediately. "Minjun," he said to Madison, "I need to take this." To Ava, "Think you can finish making breakfast without me? Just keep stirring, okay?" Ava nodded seriously, and Jinwoo stepped into the hallway. Madison heard his voice, rapid Korean, increasingly tense, before he returned minutes later with his entire demeanor changed. The gentle man teaching Ava to cook was gone, replaced by the cold crime boss. "We need to talk," he said to Madison, privately. Madison's stomach dropped. She settled Ava with an iPad Jinwoo produced, then followed him to the study. He closed the door, pacing like a caged animal. "Russo made his move," Jinwoo said without preamble. "He's filed false charges against 3 of my legitimate businesses, health code violations, labor law infractions, tax evasion. All fabricated, but it'll tie me up in court for months. Cost millions. Can't you fight it?" "I will, but that's not the point." Jinwoo stopped pacing. "The point is that he's escalating, testing me. And my uncle called last night. He wants me to end our arrangement, says you're making me weak." Madison's heart sank. Maybe he's right. "He's not," Jinwoo said fiercely, "but he'll act like he is if I don't prove otherwise. Which means I need to make a choice. Give you up to maintain power, or fight for you and risk everything." "That's not a choice," Madison said quietly. "That's emotional manipulation. You barely know me, Jinwoo. Don't throw away your empire over—" "Over what?" Jinwoo demanded. "Over a woman I saw in the rain? Over someone I've known for 3 days?" He laughed bitterly. "You're right. It's insane. Irrational. Everything my uncle warned me against. Then why are we even having this conversation?" Madison's voice cracked. "Just let me go. Find someone else, someone who won't complicate your life." Jinwoo crossed the distance between them in 3 strides, cupping her face with both hands. "Because I can't." His voice was ragged. "Because I've spent 18 years being cold and controlled and empty. And then you happened. And suddenly I remember what it feels like to want something more than power, to care about something more than survival." "Jinwoo, I'm not asking you to love me," he interrupted. I know that's too much, too fast. But I'm asking you to let me try. Let me prove that I can protect you and maintain my position, that caring about you doesn't make me weak. It makes me stronger because I have something worth fighting for. Madison's resolve crumbled. This is crazy. I know. Jinwoo's thumb brushed her cheekbone. But I've never felt more certain of anything in my life. The door burst open. Minjun Park stood there, his expression urgent. We have a problem. Russo's at Mrs. Chen's right now with a fire marshal, claiming gas leak violations. If they shut her down, it's the final provocation. Jinwoo finished grimly. How many men? Russo +4. Fire marshal is legitimate, but probably bribed. Jinwoo's mind worked visibly, calculating odds. Then he looked at Madison. Do you trust me? I don't know, Madison admitted. Fair enough. Jinwoo managed a slight smile. But I need you anyway. You're going to Mrs. Chen's with me. What? Why? Because Russo expects me to show up with muscle and intimidation. Instead, I'm bringing you, the woman he threatened. I'm showing him that I'm not hiding you, that his attempts to make you a weakness have failed. Jinwoo pulled out his phone. Jessica? It's Jinwoo Kang. I need you to come to my safe house immediately to watch Ava. Yes, I know where you live. I'll compensate you well. Thank you. He hung up and turned back to Madison. Jessica will be here in 20 minutes. We leave as soon as she arrives. This is your plan? Madison demanded. Use me as bait? Not bait, Jinwoo corrected. A statement. You're under my protection, but you're not fragile. You're strong, capable. Facing Russo proves that. And if he tries something? Jinwoo's eyes went cold. Then I end this permanently. Madison wanted to argue, but something in Jinwoo's certainty steadied her. He wasn't asking her to hide. He was asking her to stand beside him, to be his equal, not his weakness. Fine, she said. But you're explaining this to Ava. Jinwoo's expression softened. Of course. Jessica arrived exactly 20 minutes later. Madison hugged Ava tightly, promising to be back soon. Be careful, Mama, Ava whispered. Mr. Kang, too. We will, baby. The drive to Mrs. Chen's was tense. Minjun drove while Jinwoo made rapid-fire calls, coordinating something complex. Madison sat in the back, the jade pendant heavy around her neck, wondering if she was about to make the biggest mistake of her life. They arrived to chaos. Fire marshal vehicles, Russo's expensive cars, and a crowd of concerned neighbors. Mrs. Chen stood in the doorway, arguing with the fire marshal while Russo watched with smug satisfaction. Jinwoo exited the Mercedes with lethal grace. Madison followed, and Russo's expression shifted from smug to wary when he saw her. Madison Martin, Russo called out. Brave of Kang to bring you or foolish? Neither, Jinwoo said coldly. Strategic. You wanted to test whether she's my weakness. Instead, I'm showing you she's my strength. He held out his hand to Madison. She took it, letting him pull her close, making their alliance visible. The fire marshal has concerns about gas line compliance, Russo said. Legitimate concerns that require Mrs. Chen's immediate closure. Interesting, Jinwoo replied. Because I had my own inspectors here this morning, licensed and bonded. They found no violations whatsoever. In fact, he pulled out his phone, showing documentation. Mrs. Chen's restaurant is in perfect compliance. Almost like someone falsified the complaint. The fire marshal shifted uncomfortably. I received credible reports. From Mr. Russo, Jinwoo finished, who's been harassing Mrs. Chen for weeks. This isn't about safety, it's about extortion. Those are serious accusations, Russo said, but his confidence was cracking. Yes, Jinwoo agreed, as serious as threatening women under my protection. Should we discuss the consequences, Victor, or should we settle this like civilized people? The threat hung in the air. Madison could feel the tension, bystanders slowly backing away. Then, sirens. Police cars pulling up, followed by news vans. Russo's expression went from confident to alarmed. What the hell? He demanded. I called them, Jinwoo said simply. I want this on record. Your extortion attempts, your false complaints, your threats, everything documented. Because unlike you, Victor, I don't need to operate in shadows. My legitimate businesses are clean. My protection of this community is known and appreciated. When this becomes public, and it will, everyone will see that you're the real criminal here, not me. Russo's face went red. You're making a mistake, Kang. No, Jinwoo said quietly. You did. The moment you threatened her. He gestured to Madison. Because now, I'm not just defending territory. I'm defending something personal. And I'm much more dangerous when it's personal. The police approached, questions flying. Jin-woo handled them with smooth professionalism, presenting documentation, witness statements Madison hadn't known he'd collected, evidence of Russo's harassment, meticulously compiled. Madison watched in awe as Jin-woo dismantled Russo's play, with nothing more than preparation, strategy, and public exposure. No violence, no threats. Just careful, calculated moves that left Russo looking like exactly what he was, a thug trying to muscle in. The fire marshal, realizing he'd been played, quietly withdrew his complaint. The police took statements. News crews captured everything. And through it all, Jin-woo kept Madison at his side, not as a possession but as a partner, an equal. When it was over, Mrs. Chen hugged them both, tears streaming. Thank you so much. Your family, Jin-woo told her in Korean. We protect family. Back in the Mercedes, Min-jun driving them toward the safe house, Madison finally allowed herself to process what had happened. You planned all of that, she said. The documentation, the media, everything. I've been building the case against Russo for weeks, Jin-woo admitted. Today just gave me the excuse to deploy it. But yes, I wanted it public, visible, so everyone knows that threatening my people has consequences beyond violence. Your people, Madison repeated. Is that what I am? Jin-woo turned to her, and the vulnerability in his eyes stole her breath. You're more than that. He struggled for words. You're the reason I remembered why power matters, not for its own sake, but to protect what's precious. Madison felt tears prick her eyes. I'm not used to being precious to anyone except Ava. Get used to it, Jin-woo said fiercely, because I'm not letting you go. Not to Russo, not to my uncle, not to anyone. You're mine, Madison Martin, and I protect what's mine. The possessive declaration should have alarmed her. Instead, Madison felt safe for the first time in years. She leaned against Jin-woo, and his arm came around her shoulders, holding her close. What happens now? She whispered. Now. Jin-woo's voice rumbled against her. Now we go home, to Ava, and I make you both dinner, and we figure out how this works. You, me, this impossible thing between us. It's too fast, Madison protested weakly. I know. Jin-woo pressed a kiss to her temple. But I've spent 18 years being patient and controlled. For once I want to be reckless, and you make me want to be reckless. Madison smiled against his shoulder. That's probably the most romantic thing a crime boss has ever said. Jin-woo's laugh was surprised and genuine. Is it working? Maybe, Madison admitted. Ask me again after that dinner you promised. They arrived at the safe house to find Ava and Jessica making cookies. Ava ran to Madison, and Jin-woo watched them embrace with an expression of such longing it made Madison's chest ache. Mr. Kang, Ava called. Come help us. Jessica says you're good at decorating. Jessica is lying, Jin-woo said, but he rolled up his sleeves and joined them anyway. Madison watched this dangerous, powerful man teaching her daughter to ice cookies, and something in her heart settled. This was insane. Impossible. Everything rational said she should run. But as Jin-woo caught her eye over Ava's head and smiled, really smiled, warm and genuine and breathtaking, Madison knew she wasn't going anywhere. She'd found something in the storm, something she hadn't even known she was looking for, and she was going to fight to keep it. 6 months later, Madison Martin stood in the kitchen of Jin-woo's brownstone, their brownstone now, though she still had moments of disbelief, watching him teach Ava how to make kimchi jjigae properly. No, like this, Jin-woo corrected gently, guiding Ava's hands. The tofu needs to be cut precisely or it falls apart during cooking. You're very particular, Ava told him seriously. Yes, Jin-woo agreed without shame. Cooking is like everything else. If you're going to do it right. Madison smiled, sipping her coffee. 6 months. 6 months of learning to navigate Jin-woo's world while keeping her own identity intact. 6 months of watching him transform from the cold crime boss to someone capable of softness. Someone who read bedtime stories to Ava in Korean and English. Someone who'd moved Mrs. Chen's entire restaurant to a better location. Someone who'd quietly funded a community health clinic in Madison's name. They'd faced challenges. Jin-woo's uncle had tested their relationship multiple times before grudgingly accepting it. Rival organizations had tried using Madison as leverage, until Jin-woo made it clear that touching her meant immediate and complete destruction. The media had briefly fixated on Chicago's most dangerous man and his mysterious girlfriend, before losing interest when nothing scandalous emerged. But through it all they'd built something real, something that defied logic but felt utterly right. "Mama," Ava called. "Mr. Jinwoo says we can go to the Korean Cultural Center this weekend for the festival. Can we?" Madison glanced at Jinwoo, who shrugged with faux innocence. "Only if your mother agrees." "Of course we can go," Madison said, moving to join them. Jinwoo's arm came around her waist automatically, pulling her close. This easy affection had taken time, both of them learning to trust, to open up, to believe in something beyond survival. "I have news," Jinwoo said quietly, his lips near her ear. "Russo was arrested this morning. Federal charges, tax evasion, racketeering, witness intimidation. He'll be away for a very long time." Madison felt relief wash through her. "It's really over. That chapter is." Jinwoo's expression grew serious. "But there will always be other challenges. This life doesn't come with guarantees of safety." "I know." Madison had learned that reality intimately. "But I also know you'll face them. We'll face them. Together." "Together," Jinwoo echoed, and the word felt like a promise. Ava finished cutting tofu and turned to them. "Mr. Jinwoo, can I ask you something?" "Always," Jinwoo said, crouching to her level. "Are you going to marry Mama?" Ava's question was characteristically direct. Jinwoo blinked, clearly caught off guard. Madison felt heat rise to her cheeks. They hadn't discussed marriage explicitly, though the topic had danced around recent conversations. "Would you want me to?" Jinwoo asked Ava carefully. "Yes," Ava said without hesitation, "because you make Mama smile, and you make good food, and you help me with homework even when it's hard, and you never lie to me." She paused thoughtfully. "Plus, you have really cool cars." Jinwoo's laugh was surprised and delighted. He glanced up at Madison, his eyes asking a question only she could answer. Madison found herself nodding, tears pricking her eyes. "Yes," she whispered, "if you're asking." "I am," Jinwoo said simply. He stood pulling a small box from his pocket. Had he been carrying it, waiting for the right moment? "Madison Martin, will you marry me? Will you let me spend the rest of my life protecting you, loving you, learning from you? Will you let me be a father to Ava if she'll have me? Will you trust that what we have is real, even though it started in a storm and chaos?" "Yes," Madison said through tears, "to all of it. Yes." Jinwoo slipped the ring, a stunning sapphire surrounded by diamonds, onto her finger. Then he kissed her, soft and reverent, while Ava cheered. Later that night, after Ava was asleep and they were curled together on the couch, Madison asked the question that had been building in her mind. "Do you ever regret it? Letting me into your life? Changing everything?" Jinwoo considered seriously. "Every day, I'm terrified something will happen to you or Ava because of me. Every day I question whether I'm selfish for keeping you in my world." He turned her to face him fully. "But I've never regretted knowing you, loving you. You gave me something I thought was lost forever. Hope. A reason to build something better than what I inherited." "What do you want to build?" Madison asked softly. "A life," Jinwoo said simply. "A real one. With you and Ava. With family dinners and school plays and arguments about dishes. With the normal, beautiful, complicated messiness of actually living instead of just surviving." Madison's heart swelled. "That sounds perfect." "It sounds terrifying," Jinwoo corrected with a slight smile. "But I've faced down rival organizations, corrupt officials, and my uncle's disapproval. I think I can handle domestic life." "You say that now," Madison teased. "Wait until you're dealing with teenage Ava." Jinwoo's expression grew serious. "I can't wait. For all of it. Every moment." They sat in comfortable silence, the Chicago skyline glittering beyond the windows. Madison thought back to that night in the rain, desperate, hopeless, clinging to Ava and wondering how she'd survive another day. She never could have imagined this. A home, a future, a man who'd stop his car in the middle of a storm and change everything. "Thank you," she whispered. "For what?" "For stopping. For seeing me. For giving me a chance at something more than just survival." Jinwoo pulled her closer, his voice rough with emotion. "Madison, you saved me just as much as I saved you. Maybe more. You reminded me what it means to be human, to care, to believe in something beyond power and control." He pressed a kiss to her forehead. "I should be thanking you." "Then we're even," Madison decided. "Never," Jinwoo disagreed. "I'll spend the rest of my life trying to deserve you." "You already do," Madison said firmly. "You're a good man, Jinwoo Kang. Underneath everything else, that's who you really are." Jinwoo's smile was beautiful and rare, the smile he reserved for her and Ava, when he let himself be vulnerable. If I am, it's because you made me want to be. They stayed there, wrapped around each other, planning a future that once seemed impossible. Outside, Chicago hummed with life, both light and dark, legal and illegal, the city that had brought them together through rain and desperation and fate. But inside Jinwoo's brownstone, their home, there was only warmth, love, and the quiet certainty of two people who'd found each other against all odds. Madison Martin had been losing hope in a storm. Jinwoo Kang had stopped his car and said, "Get in." And somehow, impossibly, they'd found everything they'd been missing. Sometimes love arrives when you least expect it, soaked to the bone, desperate and raw, with nothing left to lose. And sometimes, the most dangerous man in the city turns out to be exactly who you need, not because he can protect you from the world, but because he reminds you that you're strong enough to face it, together.